Welcome to Teamcenter Integration across enterprise systems. My name is Brian Schouten. I'm the Director of Technical Presales for PROSTEP Inc. And this is the first part in a four-part series focused on how to integrate Teamcenter with other systems that you use across your product lifecycle. The Teamcenter Integration Series will be split up into four different sessions. The first one that we're in right now is focused on the digital enterprise vision as well as integration strategy. The second one will look at integration planning, challenges and goals to integrating data, as well as the Open PDM fundamentals. And then, in the third one, look at more of a deep dive of Open PDM, take a look at some use cases, and then show some demonstrations of those use cases using the product OpenPDM. And then finally, talk about integration success stories, as well as how to get engaged in next steps to perform these types of integrations on your own. So the overall vision for integration is purely enabling capability. And that starts with your organization and the people that work within the various tools that are used within your organization. Those might not natively talk together, and because they're separated, you might not have that digital thread that's needed in order to bring data through to the different phases of your product lifecycle to make decisions and to look back at the historical data and understand, what the intent is, or what the decisions and the test conditions were derived from. So trying to build that digital thread of all those assets together using those different vendor systems that maybe don't talk well right now. And really integration is all about solving that challenge of, how do we get these different systems talking together more efficiently so that we can build the digital thread so that we don't have to do swivel chair and, trying to enter data in manually from one system to another, but have that kind of complete already existing vision of what was existing before in the product lifecycle, so that you can utilize that downstream and efficiently be able to push that forward to kind of shorten the time that you spend in engineering and manufacturing, and provide a more valuable record that you can then also pass on to your customer or your partner after you're delivering it. From the standard V model, you can determine some of your integration needs as well. From this, you can apply some of your applications to the different domains within this model and then see where the flow of data might need to be. And there are different challenges specifically within that flow of data as well. Number one, interdisciplinary collaboration. So how do I take mechanical design and software development and ECAD, and then manage between all of those, maybe the configuration of it as well, and concurrent changes so I can collaborate and work concurrently to do that together. The second challenge is vertical model granularity, and this is really moving across the product lifecycle. So starting with your requirements system, then to a model-based systems engineering system, then to concepts of design and product lifecycle management, then maybe into validation or risk analysis or production planning, process planning systems, resource planning, all those things. So moving across the product lifecycle and being able to leverage the assets that you've created within the repositories and the tools that you're using, down the product lifecycle, and you can provide the traceability in that digital thread to kind of have that common understanding of what all those data points are to show the engineering process itself as well. And then the third challenge is the verification, and this could be in your mechanical design validation, or the integration testing of the different systems, and then also acceptance from the manufacturing side, and quality management as well. So kind of bringing all those different integration needs together. Integration, and the vision for it is really to provide this digital continuity. And that includes, the digital twin, which is partially that digital master, and then different views of that, and then also the instances of that out in the product and after sales, as well as the digital thread. So showing the traceability in the dotted red line of the different artifacts that are bound together, and in really kind of dependencies of each other as you came up with the requirements and the functional logical structures and the product design and the production of it as well. And bringing all that data together. So holistically, the vision is to provide from these different systems an integration to make sure that you've got those assets bound together and moving forward to make life easier for really for the whole engineering and manufacturing enterprise. So now that we've established that vision of using integration to get continuity of that data across your enterprise data repositories, let's talk about some strategies. Number one, all of these strategies involve what's called maintaining the authoritative source of truth, or ASA. So where your users are creating data, and then having a repository of that data, and then managing the configuration of that, like the status and the release of that data. That is where you would want to then have that data be sourced from, and then go to the rest of the enterprise. And you wouldn't want to change it in other places unless it was transformed into some other data set and then referenced, right? But having an authoritative source of truth of data is very important in order to establish the continuity of it, because if you're kind of off the cuff changing things on the fly within other systems, you're going to have a breakdown of what that thread is, and you're not going to be able to have the rationale of what that change is going back to the original intent effectively. So it's very important to maintain that. Now, that being said, there are 4 different types of strategies that we could use in order to integrate data together, right? Number one, replication. This is the most common. 80–90% of integrations involve this. This is exporting data from one system, mapping it to another system, and importing the data into that other one. We do that with a consistent and automated process, typically focused on the product lifecycle management process itself, right? So a release status or a milestone that you're meeting triggers an automation that then exports that data from one system and imports it to the next, like a release from a PLM that imports data into an ERP. Is a good example of that. And there are many others across the product lifecycle landscape. Second strategy is federation. And this is not exporting data from a system per se. This is using linked data in order to effectively pull data or query data from other sources so that then you can use it downstream. And so instead of pushing data from one system to another with a trigger, you're querying, linking, and pulling data. This has some advantages. So in replication, you don't always fit the data model perfectly because you're using different types of systems, and there can be some data loss, things like that. Data changes frequently. With federation, using linking, you could link a data set. That data set might update kind of dynamically when you need to. You can reference it and pull that data across. with just traceability, and it's very lightweight as well. The downside to that is it's not always very usable, right? When you're copying data between different systems, you can traditionally use that data, very efficiently within the new system. But with federation, a lot of times you're getting just views of that data, or an auditable report of that data. And you can't reference, all the data types in order to use that downstream. But it's easier to set up and a very powerful way to integrate. The third one is migration. And really this is kind of an integration of systems together in order to combine data into one platform. So moving data from multiple or different systems from an old one to a new one. And this can also be called platforming system. We do a lot of migration activities as well at PROSTEP, and combining data together and product data together is a big part of what we do. And this is traditionally when you introduce a new PLM system, then you can move the data into a centralized platform and perform multiple functions within that platform. And then the fourth is collaboration. And this is packaging of all the assets that you've generated in the different various source of truth repositories. And then being able to provide that data to a partner or a customer or a supplier. Maybe you need something like a quote package. Then you can bring that data out of your systems and use it and collaborate with it and bring it back into your systems after it's then been processed externally. So working with external partners efficiently. With PROSTEP's digital thread platform, we're using the different strategies in order to make your data interoperable internally and also collaborate with your partners. And you see kind of at the bottom of this slide, there's an application data layer. On the left-hand side, we've got replication and migration with OpenPDM. And so OpenPDM can harness connectors to that application data, and then BPMN workflow or migration workflows in order to transact that data, to do that export, transform, and load, or synchronization of data between the different applications. OpenDXM Global X can perform an export and transform to enable that data to be sent to your partners, suppliers, customers, and then also bring data from those partners and customers and suppliers back into your applications. And then finally, OpenCLM, using linked data and federation techniques, can build that digital thread with the existing systems you have, so without ripping and replacing, but by providing the connector layer to the different applications that you might have underneath. So all of those kind of providing that digital thread platform and then solving the integration challenges that you might have. So part of this is to focus really on replication and migration within OpenPDM. And we're going to center around that for the rest of our webinar series. With OpenPDM, we've got a library of connectors that we can plug in to provide connectivity between any various systems, a wide range of PLM connectors such as Teamcenter, 3DX, or Windchill, ALM systems, ERP systems, IoT, data exchange, and then other standard interfaces like a STEP toolkit to provide STEP data for partner data exchange or archival, OSLC integration for federation, RESTful web services to use for access to systems, and other things. So a wide variety of functionality to provide the pairing or the coupling of different systems across your product lifecycle. So that concludes our first session of Teamcenter Integration. Thank you for joining. And remember, PROSTEP is here to help. We've been doing this for a long time and understand the complexities of Teamcenter integration. So thanks again for joining, and hope to see you next session.